Hello. I want to create a series of mini lectures on the biology of aging and anti-aging interventions. So without any further ado, let's get down to business. In this first segment, I want to give you some basic information on the relevance of the process of aging. And also I want to be on the same page with you as we're moving along. And second, I want to start with good news because I want to give you an opportunity to rejoice while you still can. Most of other news in the field of gerontology and aging research are not that terribly optimistic. Here it is. During the last century, we gained more than 30 years in life expectancy. Let me repeat. During the last century, we gained on average more than 30 years in life expectancy. What it means that in our times many more people managed to survive to the old age. If you look at the graph, you will see that at the beginning of 20th century, our life expectancy was around 47 years. And now, most of us are expected to live to 70s or even early 80s, depending on the country we live in. You may also have noticed a significant drop somewhere between 1915 and 1920. It was caused by the World War I and the epidemics of influenza, which, in addition to war casualties, killed about 50 million people. Aside from that, our life expectancy steadily increased, although our gains became progressively smaller in recent years. So, in our times, our walk through the valley of the shadow of death takes a little bit longer. Although I cannot tell you when your life will end, I can with reasonable confidence tell you what you will die from. If you're lucky enough to escape being killed in the war or due to other violence, your deaths will be most likely attributed to one of the diseases listed as the most common causes of death in the United States, which, by the way, are radically different from what used to be a century earlier. In 1917, more than half of 10 leading causes of death were infectious diseases, plus very high childhood mortality. Hey, even syphilis made a cut. In 2016 list, infectious diseases practically disappeared. Childhood mortality dramatically declined. And instead, several chronic diseases, usually associated with advanced age, became very prominent. In other words, by the end of 20th century, we eliminated most extrinsic causes of death, and the current set of leading causes of death reflects the process of aging. In the context of these dramatic achievements, I feel obligated to mention about a little paradox. There is a dedicated branch of biological science called gerontology. It is focused on studying aging. The term itself was coined around 1903, but gerontology was truly experimentally active for probably 50 to 60 years. So I have to tell you that all those gains in life expectancy have nothing to do with gerontology. They came as a result of different kinds of developments, including clean water, better sanitation, better personal hygiene, discovery of antibiotics, our successes in our fight against cancer and cardiovascular diseases and such. Now, based on our previous experience with infectious diseases and antibiotics, some people entertain the idea that curing diseases is a path to immortality. This time, however, the analysis of projected changes in life expectancies does not support this notion. If we conquer cancer, we will add a lousy 3 years. If we eliminate all cardiovascular diseases, we'll accrue just 6 years. If we get rid of diabetes, we'll be looking at a pathetic surplus of 4 months. Finally, if we cure Alzheimer's, we'll gain on average less than 2 months. It is also worth noting that the ages at diagnosis for these diseases are remarkably similar, somewhere around 65-70. So, technically speaking, elimination of one disease does not get us off the hook. It simply clears the way for other assassins that are equally eager to kill. Let me illustrate. The aging is a global process affecting every organ, tissue, or cell type. In the twilight of our years, everything is compromised. If we're lucky, we may even develop dementia that may help us cross over in a state of blissful ignorance. Now, let's imagine that we have found a cure for dementia, and only dementia. Our body will continue deteriorating as before, but the only difference of us being painfully aware of all the particulars of the processes of aging and dying. Well, I hope I convinced you that the importance of individual diseases as determinants of our lifespan is ridiculously exaggerated. However, if we demote them to the status of simply the most common symptoms of aging, merely first wavelets of a rising and inescapable tide of global decay, everything starts making sense. It also logically follows that the search for effective cures for diseases of advanced age is fundamentally futile if we do not target the phenomenon of aging per se. At this point, I would like to make a few conclusions. First, disease is a dramatic deviation from the norm. Second, in elderly people, the norm approaches disease criteria for the young. And third, the treatments of aging-related diseases will remain symptomatic and therefore only partially effective unless we target the mechanisms responsible for aging itself. That was short, wasn't it? Thank you for watching to the end. Thank you for your patience. I hope that you found this little lecture reasonably informative and interesting. And when my next segment is ready, I hope to see you again. Till then.